Okay, so Piere, we've made it to another episode, and today, for our viewers, we're going to talk a little bit about Cheltenham. I know Cheltenham's not your thing because even though you've ridden over 5,500 winners, I don't think you could ride a horse for 3 miles, could you?
No, that's one of the questions I wanted to ask. Like,
Wait, before you ask it, let me introduce Jamie Snowden, top national hunt trainer, and guess what Jamie done in his career? He won the Royal Artillery and the Grand Military 4 times each, and guess what distance those races are?
No idea.
3 miles. That's nearly 5 kilometers.
Is it? Okay.
Jamie, welcome.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. So, Jamie, you did something unusual, eh? You won these 2 races twice.
I was.
Well, you won the races 4 times, but with Tenzo and Inca Trail, you managed to win them in the same year or something.
Yeah, that's right. Did it? I think I did the double twice, won them both 4 times. But yeah, lucky enough to train the winner of those 2 races earlier this year as well. So it's a sort of unique feat. But yeah, privileged to have done it.
Yeah. And Jamie, obviously I've known you, I've met you, I've been to your yard with Tony Piere and with Gareth van Zyl. But I would imagine it's chaos there at the moment because next week, something that doesn't happen anywhere else in the world happens in England, right?
Yeah, it's the Olympics of our sport, the Cheltenham Festival. So four brilliant days of very, very competitive racing.
Very competitive, isn't it?
Incredibly, Joe. When I was working for both Nicky Henderson and Paul Nicholls, and they were having winners left, right, and centre there, and I started out training myself, and we were very lucky to have a winner there with our 3rd ever runner, and I believed that I'd sort of made it, and we were going to have winners there. How many winners we were going to have the following year, type thing, and that was kind of my attitude. And it took us 9 years to go and have another festival winner. So we certainly appreciate how hard it is to win there now.
Yeah, have you ever been?
Well, I wanted to ask Jamie, what's more of a feat, riding the winner or training the winner?
I'm going to say training the winner. When you're riding the winner, you get off and go and have a shower and forget all about it. When you're riding the winner, you got to worry about it all the next day. And listen, you're worrying about it all the time. It's only when you leg up the jockey you're sort of handing it into their hands. But no, it's definitely more of an achievement, I think, to have trained. But the thrill certainly was probably in the riding of it. It's a different feeling, but it is incredible.
And Piere, so Jamie rode in this. There's a special meeting every year at Sandown for military people, because obviously we know the amazing animal that we all love, the horse, carries mankind through everything, right? In the field, ploughing, in the army, racing. I mean, the horse is just an incredible creature, right? So I'm assuming, Jamie, you can correct me, but that meeting, which associates itself with military people, is to give the military guys a chance to ride in races. Is that what it's about?
Yeah, I think that's right, Joe. It's a special day where it's only restricted to military personnel riding the horses as jockeys, and yeah, it's a very traditional event where owners are from the military, jockeys are from the military, and yeah, it's a very traditional event, and thankfully it's carried on through the generations.
Do you ride with a whip or a sword?
Good question. You probably want a spear and a sword to take out the competitors. That would be quite fun.
So Jamie, Piere is 57 and he's still riding winners, still riding at the top of his game, ridden all over the world. And you can see he's on the Vino there. What weight would you have done when you rode those horses?
I'm quite tubby, so the weights for those races are somewhat different to normal races. I think top weight with penalties is about 12 stone 10.
What's that in kilos? Do we know? Does anybody know? No. 70 kilos, maybe 75 kilos.
Yeah, my maths was never my strongest point, to be honest with you, Jay.
Fair enough.
What is it?
76 kilos. Eva just shouted 76 from there. striker 76 kilos
Just
on thin boots,
right.
for 3 kilometers. Unbelievable, huh? It's so hard to not fall in love with national hunt racing. Do you know what I mean? It's so hard. Okay, so we're
Jamie,
going to watch it. Sorry.
About like you said about the fitness. I'm not only talking about the jockey, but also the horse. Did you have to do different preparation, or you just, as a jockey, you just kept riding and riding until your fitness picked up, and then you just maintained it, or was anything different?
Piere, I gather you've ridden many thousands of winners. So my 100 winners pales into insignificance as a jockey compared to yours. So I think I can ask the question back to you as a jockey, Piere, perhaps.
Well, my problem at the moment is that I'm close to retirement, so I'm not riding every race meeting in a Halfveld, or sometimes in Cape Town. So I have to do exercises in between, like do a bit of spinning or swim a bit, but especially I try and stretch a lot. I think that helps a lot to stay supple. But it's still difficult to maintain your fitness and also the weight. By riding in races, it forces me not to, it forces me to not eat as much, because now obviously I've got to be light for the next race meeting. But it also makes me stay fit without having to do any other exercises. But I just, what I'm seeing the difference for us as a jockey on a flat racing is where we are staying balanced and riding to the finish and try not to bounce. But as a jump jockey, it looks like you have to sort of bounce, maybe because, I mean, it's so far that you have to bounce in the saddle. Is it because of your legs are getting tired, or as in to encourage the horse more? What's your outlook?
Yeah, so it's a very good point there, Piers. I think, yeah, certainly jump jockeys do bounce in the saddle, perhaps more than flat jockeys, but I would say that's not through the jockey necessarily getting tired. It's more to do with the horse getting a bit tired. I think the flat racing, when they finish, you know, a horse is seldom tired. You're just encouraging that horse to go as fast as it possibly can. Whereas in jump racing, the horse is getting tired. So the jump jockey's got to use his strength to hold the horse together and urge it to keep going and keep battling through that sort of that lactic acid that's built up and see it finish out strongly. So the jockey is kind of got his bum close to the saddle to really gather the horse up and encouraging it forward into the jockey's hands to allow it to go forward. Whereas obviously flat horses they probably shouldn't be tired when they're crossing the line.
Yeah. This is why our podcast is so popular, by the way, because people are sitting at home, they're going to watch jump racing, and especially in South Africa, they've only watched flat racing, and they're going to think, oh, these jockeys look awkward, or these jockeys look unbalanced and whatever. But actually, there's a reason, and we've just found out what that reason is. Piere, we're just going to watch Jamie. Sorry.
So our horses do get tired, because otherwise we could just go flat out from the beginning and the horse won't stop. So our horses do get tired, but where we find some jockeys do also bounce in the flat racing is because you've run out of options. You can, niggle the horse, you can tap him down the shoulder, give him a smack or two behind, and if he doesn't respond, he's starting to run out of options, and that's where some jockeys start bouncing because it's something different. Some of us even shout in the finish, like, come on, boy, also respond to shouting as well. So we're trying to get the best out of a horse, not necessarily by whipping the horse, but by other methods as well.
Yeah. Piere, tell me, do you really shout, come on, boy, or is it slightly more, there's a few more French words mixed into that?
Most definitely. Afrikaans, French, a whole lot.
So listen, we're just going to watch Jamie win these 4 races with these 2 horses with 10 Zone Inca Trail. Okay. So we'll put that in. So people can have an idea of what he's done in his achievements.
Last lands 5 lengths clear, and it's Witenzo back to winning form here. James Snowden winning his second Royal Artillery Gold Cup. Witenzo wins.
It's Witenzo, trained by Paul Nicholls. He's over the last and he's clear by 7 lengths. It's the big double in the military racers. First the Royal Artillery, now the Grand Military. Witenzo, much the best.
Back 9 this side, Inca Trail over on the far side. Jamie Snowden sitting as quiet as he dared. Now he just squeezes Inca Trail along. Great finish again. Inca Trail wins it.
Here comes Inca Trail. He's got his nose in front. Inca Trail, great ride.
We've got quite a lot of horses nominated for Cheltenham, Jamie. And I'm looking at the prices. I mean, you know, the rand is quite weak. There's some juicy bits and bobs here, but what would you think is your best option for Cheltenham next week?
Good question, Joe. So when we were lucky enough, obviously, to win back in 2014 with Pleasant View, I really thought that he would win, and he only just won.
Right.
When we've gone with horses, otherwise, you know, I've hoped they might win, and they kind of haven't. Last year, You Wear It Well won. She was 16-1. She was a good price, but we actually thought that she really might win.
You Wear It Well and Lucia. Lucia's been popped the question. She's got a length to find. You Wear It Well, though, was in close at the final hurdle. Lucia, though, wasn't much better in second. You Wear It Well sticking on pluckily from in second position, Lucia. Lucia simply can't bridge the gap, and it's You Wear It Well just edging right across to that far running rail, but keeping up the pace. She's gained You Wear It Well. She knows how to win.
So this year, we go there with a few. I think the one we're really quite excited about is actually a horse that isn't entered yet. We're going to supplement him in for the Ryanair.
Ooh, we love a little bit of supplementing.
Yeah, he's a very good horse. He won the Paddy Power Gold Cup at Cheltenham last year, the November fixture. He won on Trials Day back at Cheltenham in January, and he's in the form of his life. He was 5th in the race last year. When he was not in the same kind of form. One of our retired jockeys, Paige Fuller, works for...
Oh, I know Paige. She's lovely.
She works for a company called Race IQ now. And Race IQ measure distances gained by jumps in a race. And when you count 0 as par, anything above that is plus. So when you're jumping well, it's plus. When you're jumping worse, it's minus.
Okay, interesting.
And Garlaw, he was 5th in the Ryanair last year, and he ran to his jumping was -2. When he won at Cheltenham in January, his jumping was +15.
No way.
So he's in the form of his life at the moment, and he was
spell his name?
He's called Garlaw, G-A, another word, L-A-W.
Okay, and you say, oh, look at him, French horse, and you haven't entered him yet, you say?
No, so we're gonna enter him for the Ryanair on the Thursday. It's a Grade 1 over 2.5 miles.
Fantastic.
And he was fifth in the race last year, and he was coming back from a nasty fall at Doncaster. This year he's in the form of his life going into it. So
Toto battling away. They've cleared away now from Champagne Mystery and Jetoile at the final fence. He pops over in front. Garlaw, Lounge Lizard challenging to the outside. Il Redoto not far behind. It's Garlaw and the Gavin Sheehan who lead by a couple of lengths to Lounge Lizard and Il Redoto on the run towards the line. And it's Garlaw. He's back to form. He's going to win this valuable handicap race. Garlaw the winner.
And that's an interesting thing. I didn't know I was going to talk about this, and this podcast does turn left sometimes. So the perception of horses falling in national hunt racing is that it's the worst thing ever. Visually, it doesn't look good. But do you have stats on percentages of injuries? Or I've always said that it's not as bad as doing a tendon in the morning on the gallops or flat racing. Am I right, or am I clutching?
Joe, you are right on the whole. I mean, I suppose when it comes to injuries in fools, you know, there can be any amount of injuries all the way, you know, from the spectrum of actually not picking up any injury at all, to the catastrophic injury. So
Yeah, of course.
A tendon injury, as you say, Joe, you're off games for a year. And take Garlaw as an example. He fell in the Skybet chase at Doncaster in January, and yet he was 5th in the Ryanair in March. He came back and he still ran a belter last year. Exactly. But he's definitely not, it definitely affected him, probably more so mentally than physically, perhaps.
Right. And visually, it doesn't look good. So for people that are new to national hunt racing, when a horse falls, it doesn't look good. But quite often, again, I don't have stats, quite often they get up and they keep running and they keep jumping.
Well, that's the point, Joe, isn't it? They keep jumping. A lot of the time when they fall in a race, they get up and they keep jumping. And it does show that horses enjoy jumping. They enjoy what they do, and they're herd.
100%. And one thing we like to do here is just not.
I wanted to ask Jamie: are all the jumps the same height, or for different rankings, or how does it work?
No, listen to me. Jamie, let me tell you. Basically, for some jumps, you need balls like mice. For other jumps, you need balls like dogs. And then for the Grand National, you need big kahunas.
Like for elephants. When you go to the Grand National, we think they're not all there. That's us flat jockeys. Those guys that jump at the Grand National, no.
You're probably right, Piere. You're probably right, but I'm one of those nutters.
Did you ride into the Grand National? Did you ride into the Grand National?
Did you?
I rode over those fences. God knows how many times. I never ran in the Grand National, but they have several races over those fences, and I rode over those fences probably about 10 or 15 times. And
wow, yeah. So Jamie can tell you, they have hurdles, then they have chase fences. But it's not only the height. Some of these things are quite wide from takeoff to landing. I don't know the official measurements, but look, you need to know what you're doing. Not that you don't, but you're probably better over 5 furlongs.
It's some buzz, Joe. I tell you what, it's some buzz. It's the closest thing to flying, I have to say. It's some buzz.
I do take my hat off to you. Okay, so Garlaw is something that we've got to keep an eye out. I saw Nikki Henderson's not going to run Constitution Hill.
Yeah, so we're going to run You Wear It Well as well. She won last year, and she won the Mayor's Novice last year. She runs in the Mayor's Hurdle this year. She's a good price, and she's overpriced.
You Wear It Well. So Garlaw and You Wear It Well. Okay, Jamie, I wish you all the best for Cheltenham, really, and I thank you so much. Piere, is there anything else you want to ask Jamie?
Yes, 2 more questions. One about the start. We have starting stalls. How do you just line up and get your horse in a position where you jump away well, or do you lag off at the back if you need your horse to settle, or how does it work?
Yeah, it's a very good point, Piere. The start for jump racing is done. There's a tape and a flag, and everyone lines up behind the tape, and they walk in, trot in, jig jog in. Tape comes out, flag goes down, and away you go. But quite often, there's a jostling for positions during the start, and I was always told when I started out in the jump racing game that you can never win a race at the start, but you can lose a race at the start.
We've lost Piere. This is the problem with electricity in South Africa; it just disappears.
Go on.
Listen, thank you so much. It's brilliant. I'm sure our viewers will love it. Like I said, we're getting good numbers. We'll all shout Garlaw and You Wear It Well home for you. I wish you but the best, Cheltenham. Love to your missus and the kids, and I'll see you soon.
You're very kind. Thanks, Jay. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.